Larry Robertson.
And Andrew Boji.
One more point. We want to talk about a scenario with a product that came in. We want to talk about the differences here again with our model, which is very, very quick, very pragmatic, and the traditional way things often happen.
Yep.
We have a client right now that has a product he's very, very passionate about. It's actually quite a viable product. Has a significant amount of time and money invested. Andrew, I'm going to let you tell the story because it's an engineering story.
Yes, yeah. When this inventor came to us, he showed me the item, and I said at this point, I think that your product you should run through AON. Because of the AON model, you'll never spend more than $3,249 at this point to take a product to market. We'll get it in front of the people that need to see it, and it's designed to be an incredibly efficient system. But this inventor decided, no, I've got a way that I'm doing this. I've got a couple of people in place. I'm going to take this to market myself, and that's his prerogative. And All Product Design was more than happy to support him in his endeavor. So we did the design work, and I think it probably cost him in the region of about $1,000. It was only a small widget. We were able to do it cost effectively and get him to the stage of having engineering CADs ready to go in his hand. Now, he came in for a second meeting with me, thanking me for the work that we'd done, and he was asking me for some input on the next level that he could go through his next stage. And I said, can I be frank with you, as a friend? Can I be frank with you and just give you a little bit of a warning of what you're about to go through? Because right now you spent around about $1,000 with me. You've probably spent $2,000 or $3,000 with a patent attorney at this stage, and a couple of other bits and pieces. And I know I've already heard comments from you that this has already cost you quite a lot of money, and it's I know that you don't have that much money. His next step with this item, which would be an injection molded item, 4 different components, some overmolding, and those kinds of things. So this item, again, my best guesstimate was his next step was going to cost in the region of $60,000 to $70,000 in tooling to manufacture these parts, which he got a little bit of a gasp from that. And I said, so once you spent your $70,000 on tooling, and you're now at probably about $75,000 investment, you've then got a production run ahead of you. And for a minimum production run, not sure entirely what that's going to be, but it's not going to be $500 or $600. There's going to be another significant lump sum because.
But then at least he has a guarantee he's going to get his money back.
Well, I'd like to think it was that way, but it really isn't. At that point, the guarantee is that he's going to need a storage unit to put the items that he's just had manufactured in bulk. Now, he still can't really sell this item. What he next needs is he's going to need to brand this item. He's got to do his marketing. He's going to need packaging.
So he's going to build a consumer products company.
Essentially, that's his intention. He's going to need packaging, everything branded, and get all that loaded. He's got to pack it out as well. So
create his own distribution.
He's going to need distribution,
his own sales
as well.
organization.
Exactly.
Design packaging.
Yeah, to get that. And here's the kicker with this item, because it's actually a plug-in for another consumer product that's already out there. He's at the mercy of that much larger product. If they go and this is a product that they change up and quite regularly. It's what I would consider a fad item. So at this stage, he's got a very, very short window to make this happen. And if that company changed their model, changed the system, at that point it's all for nothing. So he could very easily end up with about $150,000 with a very narrow window
for a small accessory to something comparable to a fax machine.
Right.
And before you come off the assembly line, here comes the scanner.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the liability that you end up. In fact, I had an interesting conversation with a tooling manufacturer the other day, to the contact that you had made. This gentleman is involved with several factories that make the tooling for injection molded tool production and those kinds of things. And he was telling me that because of his connection, he can get that tooling manufactured for free. Up front, he would still have to pay it back as the product goes to market, but up front, he wouldn't have to find that $100,000, $150,000 that we hear of people having to put out on their design. He could get that molding done up front for free. So you can just imagine how many products then this gentleman has on the market, because he's got a direct access, and the answer is none. And it's not because he doesn't have ideas, but he told me, even though he can get the tooling done essentially for free, he would never try and take a product to market himself with that kind of model because of all the things that we're talking about in this situation.
The risk.
Yeah, exactly. There is a massive risk. And then after that, we get into the area that if you've got your item, and let's just say that you have been able to find an investor or whatever you needed to find, $150,000 in investment to get your product, and you've branded it and you've got all of that together. If you've managed to do all of that, you've still got a tremendous difficulty getting into any major retailer or any of the big box retailers because you've got one item.
Retailers don't buy one item.
That's right.
I don't know of a single major retail chain currently, Andrew, that is willing to even entertain single product vendors.
Right. And here's one of the reasons that I was made aware of just the last few weeks, which floored me when I heard it. When you're selling an item to one of the large retailers, that buyer is responsible for the deals essentially that he puts together. So if the product that he goes and signs off on, if it gets a 90% to the shelf fill,
he's out of work. That man just lost, or woman just lost their job.
Yeah.
Because that's unacceptable.
Right.
And you have to stop and think about it. A buyer in a retail chain is responsible for the return on inventory investment. They're responsible and held accountable for the sales, the profit, and also being in stock all the time. And 8 out of 10 stores being in stock is not acceptable. 9 out of 10 stores in stock is not acceptable. And stop and think about this. If you were in a position, if you were a buyer for a major retail chain, would you purchase a product from an unproven company, knowing full well if they trip and disrupt your in-stock percentage, that you could lose your job over that? Would you even consider that for a moment?
Right.
And the answer is obviously no. There's a myriad of reasons, and I think on an upcoming blog, what I'd like to do is I'll bring in one of our friends that's buyers from retail chains and let them tell their story on this.
Yeah.
I think that would be very
I think
insightful.
so, yeah.
And we'll just do that. As a matter of fact, let's do that on an upcoming episode here in the next couple of weeks.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. We appreciate your time, and as always, feel free to contact us with any questions and let us know subjects that you'd like us to handle.
If you have friends and family members that are creative people, the kind of folks that are always tinkering, encourage them to go to our site and like us on Facebook. It's helping with our exposure. Google is excited for the fact that we've been advised that the visitors to the AON website are spending much more time. They're spending a lot more time than the average internet site. So we appreciate everybody using and considering our content, and also the suggestions that are coming in are very important to us. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.